He designed the Orbit Tower in the Olympic Park, has exhibited in Tate Modern's Turbine Hall, and just made a Gangnam-style video in support of human rights and the Chinese artist Ai Weiwei. The Turner Prize-winning sculptor Anish Kapoor sells his work for millions around the world from a sprawling studio in South London. And he's given our culture editor, Matthew Kane, an exclusive tour.
You know, the studio is, in a way, a place of experimentation. No, more than in a way. It is a place of experimentation. It isn't a factory. It's about kind of allowing things to emerge. There's one here, in fact, which is the beginnings of an idea for a new waxwork.
With so much depending on interaction with the viewer, how do you know whether a piece like this is ultimately going to work?
You don't.
Until?
You don't. The whole point, in a way, of any work that properly involves the viewer is that you can't enact it until you make it for real.
Anish Kapoor creates work on a variety of scales and using a variety of materials. His studio in South London is based in a former shutter factory. Each adjoining warehouse is now dedicated to a different area of his practice.
So let's just go in here for a sec. It's a spray, this is a spray booth, and a work just ready to be painted. What I'm after is not dissimilar to what's happening there now, even though it's grey. It is a kind of inner reflective condition. It's one, you know, when you close your eyes and sit quietly, you kind of know that dark space in yourself.
And do you think a figurative piece could do the same thing, or is it only abstract art that has the ability to do this?
I'm interested in abstract art because I think its route to meaning is much more poetic.
Working with Anish Kapoor are a total staff of 20, many of them studio assistants. These provide technical expertise for his work with materials such as cement.
What did you make of David Hockney's comments earlier this year when he had a go at Damien Hirst for relying so heavily on assistants? Because presumably for the technical knowledge you really need to rely on the expertise of yours.
Look, I think this is a kind of, in a way, I think a ridiculous point. Artists, if I don't know, Michelangelo is a possible example. All the artists of the Renaissance had many assistants. It depends on what you're trying to do. David, bless him, is a painter. Painters just don't need assistants in the same way that sculptors do. You know, I've been making mirror pieces, mirror works for quite a while. Perceptually, they are very confusing. It's as if one's looking at space kind of tumbling into itself.
You're interesting as an artist in that your work equally appeals to the art world and the general public. Do you have a particular kind of viewer that you're more concerned with communicating with?
You know, in the art world, traditionally, we are suspicious of the so-called, of popularity, of the so-called big public. But I think one can do both, and one, you know, that's in a way the job.
But at the same time, you do acknowledge that there are dangers inherent in trying to communicate to a wide public.
Inevitably. There is, you know, Disneyland is just a short distance away. So I think there is this difference in a way between a serious intent and an intent that points towards entertainment.
The final room in Anish Kapoor's studio is a gallery space where finished work can be viewed.
I think if I were really sad and I were looking at this, it would accentuate my sadness. But today I'm quite happy, and it feels to me like a happy piece.
So therefore I think what you're saying is that maybe it's not possible or necessary to put those kinds of subtle feelings into words. That what one says is that you register that there's something going on, but you can't quite name it. I think that not being able to name it properly or adequately is part of the magic of the work. So why rob it of its magic?